welcome back to HBO Max. I'm Makenna. Joining me as always is Brandon. How are you today, Brandon?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely wonderful, McKenna. I got these this Cosmic Crisp cider right here. It's delicious. The Seahawks won today. I'm doing great.
You're living the high life right there. Sports. I'm glad you're doing well with sports.
Yeah, you've had a rough go of it.
Yeah. Union lost, Phillies lost, Chelsea lost this morning. It's just sports are dumb. I hate them.
It's unfortunate.
Oh. And joining us is a very special guest, Joe. How are you today, Joe? Making your return.
Return, yes. I'm doing fan-fucking-tastic. Happy to be back. Happy to be back. Glad to see your faces. This promises to be a fun one.
Yes, also, I'm excited.
I'm thinking.
Yes.
This is a movie we got right here.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yes. And yes, speaking of the movie, we did Moonstruck. And before we get the first movie of
We did what movie?
Moonstruck, right?
Oh, I watched Moonfall.
Oh no.
Did you no, get out. No way.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
I did not watch
I was gonna say, this is the first time we watch strong movies. Is there actually a movie called Moonfall?
Yeah. It came out this year.
Oh, unfortunately. Yeah.
Moonfall.
Oh.
It's on HBO Max. It's pretty sweet.
Just like this movie is. Yes. Yeah. I didn't have to watch it on Blu-ray, no.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max right there with League of Their Own. It's all the movies are on HBO
both
Max.
of them are on HBO
Definitely.
Max.
Don't check us. The first episode of Criterion Collection Month. Woo.
Yes.
And before we get into facts and figures, I want to ask you, Joe, why you chose Moonstruck for the movie.
This kind of started as a, hey, we might do a Nicolas Cage month. What's your thought? And I'm like, fucking Moonstruck, that's what. But then it sort of morphed into a Criterion month, and that works too, because there is a very nice Criterion disc of this one. There's some fun extras. Fucking Moonstruck, man. This I would have been, let's see, this was out in December of 86?
87.
And then got a wide, and then did it get its wide release in 87 or 88?
88, January 88.
Okay. That's right, because I have this awful Mandela effect thing between Moonstruck and Aliens, in that I know both Cher and Sigourney Weaver were nominated for Best Actress, and I conflate in my head that it was in the same year, but Aliens was the year prior, and Cher actually won. So there you go.
1986, maybe the best year of movies ever. If this was in 1986, oh my God, just solidifies it.
Yeah. I'm kind of partial to 82 myself, but for reasons. But that being said, 87, I would have been 8. And this would have been a film that my folks really enjoyed, particularly my mother. I'm sure she owned a copy of it, because I feel like as I went through parts of my childhood, this film was like on constant repeat. This is like one of those VHSs that gets worn out. And it was actually something of a big deal at the time. It's something where MGM thought, hey, this ain't shit. We're just going to, do a limited release and shelve this fucker. And the film that they decided that they were going to make a big deal tanked. And they're like, well, we got this thing. Let's put it out there. And it did reasonably well. And, got some nice Oscar noms and definitely 3 wins. So
it reminds me a lot of My Big Fat Greek Wedding, in that same way of like it being this like small rom-com that's like sort of like a niche audience initially, and then just like becomes like a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the soundtrack being a big deal. And it's got some bops in it. That's for sure. You got some Dean Martin.
Oh my God. When
Yeah.
this movie
Oh,
starts
yeah.
off with when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza, I was just like, okay, I'm
That's
in
some more.
100% into this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
You get Psycho Nick Cage.
Yep.
Yep. Nutball Nick Cage is always good Nick Cage. And yeah, man. And as I got a little older, this was one of those when you're a kid, you groan and you roll your eyes because it's a movie your parents like and one that they seem to be watching all the time, right? And then you get a little bit older and you start to appreciate some of those movies just a little bit more, and this is absolutely one of them. Just the fucking timing with the comedy, it's Brandon, we were talking a little bit earlier how it's so clear this is written by a playwright, right? And you get all these little scenes that are very, very staged, and they feel like they could be, performed in front of an audience on a stage very easily. And all these little one-off side characters, they get these awesome little scenes and awesome like one-liners, and it keeps going. It's a great romantic comedy, right? But it's just a great fucking comedy as it is. It's a
pretty damn
ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. It's Italian as all get out. It's everything. Every conversation's about death. Everything's about death, and like all these conversations seem to happen around a table or around like an island or some kind of something like that. And it's great. Honestly, it's one of those films where I think you could easily say it's one of the greatest romantic comedies out of like at least the 80s, if not, the latter part of the 20th century. Pretty easily, I would say. But that's my bullshit opinion.
No, I come from a very Italian family on my mom's side, and it felt like a story that would be told at like a Christmas party. It was like, man, these people feel like they could be my family. This is a little creepy. Like that's cousin Tommy from Philadelphia. He's but yeah, it felt like being home. It was nice. But yeah, it did facts and figures. So, as we discussed earlier, released December 18th, 1987. It was a limited theatrical release and then a widespread release January 15th, 1988. Budget of $15 million. Box office, $122.1 million. Six Oscar nominations, including Best Picture. Didn't win Best Picture, but it won 3 other Oscars. Cher won Best Actress. Olympia Dukakis won Best Supporting Actress, and Best Original Screenplay was won by John Patrick Shanley, if my handwriting is correct. Nicolas Cage almost wasn't in the... Sorry?
Briefly.
Yes.
For a long time, the only thing that I knew about this movie was that this was the movie Cher won an Oscar for. And I believe that has been like a punchline in like sitcoms and other things that I've heard before, is like they gave Cher an Oscar. And unfair that's been used as a joke, because she's fantastic in this movie. I love her so much.
I didn't know.
And Olympia Dukakis, absolutely. She deserves that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I didn't know anything about this movie, let alone that Cher was in it. So when I saw her, I was like, "Oh my god, I think that's Cher." And I mean, I'm not the best at like spotting faces, so I was like, I had to like Google search. I was like, "Is this just? Oh shit, she won an Oscar for this?" And everything. It was great. It was a nice. I love romantic comedies with my entire heart, especially from like the 80s and 90s. So like not knowing this and then learning it was a very exciting surprise for me when I watched it. And Nicolas Cage was in it. Speaking of which, Nicolas Cage he almost didn't make the film. his screen test did not improve the studio, but Cher threatened to leave if Cage did not get hired, and that's why he's in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah. The kitchen scene, the director didn't allow lunch until they perfected their moods, and was then fined by the Actors Guild for not allowing lunch.
Yeah, not allowed to do that.
No. Martin Scorsese's parents are in it. Charles and Catherine, shout out to them in the bakery scene when Cher comes in. And one of my favorite facts and figures, John Mahoney, as we know. I'm a big Frasier fan.
Oh, John Mahoney.
John Mahoney.
He's so good.
I yelled, "Oh my God, it's Marty Crane!" This got him widespread attention, and he said this helped him get cast in Frasier. This would have been 6 years later. So, I love him.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
And those are all my facts and figures. I was just so excited. All of the facts and figures just made me I don't know. I loved this movie. It was, like I said, it was very happy surprise that it was a rom-com. I loved it so much.
I also loved this movie so much. This movie fucking rules.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And more people need this shit in their life. You need to spread the good word of Moonstruck.
This reminded me a lot of when I watched the movie Arthur for the first time. Joe, have you seen
Okay.
Arthur?
It's been so many years that I do not remember it well, but yes.
Yeah, Arthur is another 80s rom-com that stars Dudley Moore, and it's fucking hilarious. And I'm just like, God, these movies are so good. 80s rom-coms are really, why aren't we watching more of these?
I really appreciate that this is one of those 80s films that doesn't have much that doesn't age well. This movie fucking holds up. It's
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I don't think it passes the Bechdel test. I couldn't find
Probably
any
not.
things of that. But the movie is centered around like romance and stuff. There's very little in this movie that is not focusing on being like about romance. Like they pretty much never not talk about relationships. So, but yeah, there's just like, it's so damn funny. It's like every scene had like a joke in it that like really made me laugh out loud. And it's got the thing of like 80s and like even like early 90s rom-coms where it's just like a normal movie that is a rom-com. Like today when you go and see a rom-com, it's like very like broad comedy, very boring, ugly lighting, shot like just like very standard like a movie. This is just like they went in and made a goddamn film, and it's just a rom-com. Like it's just a really good movie that happens to be a rom-com too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like thinking about this kitchen scene and just thinking like all of the different shot angles to get all of the emotions. And like that was like another thing that I read about why that kitchen scene took so long to film was they need to perfect the mood and the emotions, and they need to figure out where to put the camera to get the best like portrayal of everything. And I felt like I was in the kitchen, and like you felt like you were sitting at the table with everyone, which is brilliant.
I was disheartened to find out that both Nick Cage and Danny Aiello didn't want to be in that scene, and it took a lot of coercion to get them in there. I can't imagine it without them. It's
so good.
Just the intonation in all the lines, like, would you like some oatmeal? Yes, Mrs. Castorini, I would love some. Just because he's fucking with Cher at that point. She doesn't want him to be there. He's desperate to be there because he's so madly in love with her, and he's just fucking with her, and it's great. And I have the feeling that this is going to be just delicious. It's, yes.
I love how they were able to like mirror these two lines that made me really laugh both times. When like when she first gets proposed to, and do you love him? She goes, no. She goes, good. It's so much easier if you don't love him. And then at the end, when she's like, do you love him? Mom, I love him awful. Oh, that's too bad.
Oh, that's too bad.
Get it. I got like a full on laugh both times. It's so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I love the first time with that line, how Vincent Gardenia is kind of standing over her when she makes that comment about good, because when you do, they can drive you crazy because they know they can. And she just kind of glances up at him. Yeah.
I learned so much
Yeah.
about love and relationships in this movie. This is great.
Or like when the dad comes home from the opera and her fiance's in there and they have that conversation. He's like, I don't know what you're talking
I had to write
about.
this down.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Yes. You'll have your eyes open for you, my friend. I have my eyes open. Oh, yeah? Well, stick around. Don't go on any don't go on any long trips. And he's like, I don't know what you mean. I know you don't. That's the point. I'll say no more. You haven't said anything. And that's all I'm saying.
So good.
It's so good.
Oh my God. And I remember years later after seeing this for the first time, like probably watching Leon the Professional. It's like, holy shit, that's the dude from Moonstruck. Danny Aiello.
Time to Moonstruck. 4339. It's when they're first struck by the moon. Not talk about it,
wait.
but when
So
the moon
so
is
is
there.
it the scene? Because the moon is there at the very opening shot.
Yeah, but no one's struck by that moon.
But no, okay. So is it that scene where all the couples are together and they're all looking at the moon?
Yeah. So the first one
Okay.
is the parents. Well, it's the mom really, Rose, and she like looks out the window. That was the first one. It's 4339. Apparently there's supposed to be an eclipse this week, like a total eclipse. Speaking of the moon, now I'm thinking about the moon. Like it's like they say this for like all of them. It's like the last one for like a million years or whatever. There's like a total eclipse. The last one until 2025 on like Tuesday.
It's because they make up shit about eclipses, okay? Because every eclipse, no, listen, okay? Every eclipse is like, oh, this is the only time that an eclipse has happened where it's only covering 50% of the moon, exactly 50%. Oh, but and it's the last time it's going to happen for 50 years, and the next year it's like, okay, this is another eclipse, but it covers 51% of the moon, which has totally never happened before. They make shit up. It's like when you're watching like a baseball game or like a football game, and it's like this is the first time that any quarterback has thrown for 200 yards with two receivers who are named Tony. This is an important stat that somehow we found out. I don't get down with the clips.
That concludes Moon Talk for this episode. Moon, just cheese. Oh, I also want to shout out the restaurant in this movie. Now that's a fine Italian establishment right there. You know it's good. They got the dessert cart. They got the low lighting. They got like the table, white tablecloth, and like candles, and like there's a fight in the corner. Like that's a good dining experience. You got a proposal in the other corner. You got everyone. The owner knows everyone. Like that. That's good shit right there. That's where you know your family. Screw Olive Garden.
That is the Olive Garden.
When you're here, you're here.
When you're here, you're here.
Oh shit.
I really just want to eat there now. Like that's. I mean, I'm always craving Italian food. I'm gonna really harp on my like tiny bit of Italian blood this entire episode. Like I'm always craving Italian food. My blood is marinara, but man, did I really want a nice chicken
You should get
parm
that
last
checked
night.
out.
I know. I go to
Okay.
the doctor's in January.
You want to talk about the food in this movie? There's the scene where her mom is making eggs in a hole.
Oh,
Yeah,
Guess what
toad in the
first
hole.
thing- Guess what I did as soon as I got up this morning? I went out
Yeah,
there. I had
you
the
made toad in the
sourdough
hole.
bread. I cut the hole in it. I had eggs in a hole. Oh my god, it's so good.
I like the red peppers that were with it too. That
I
looked,
know. I was like, man, I wish
Oh.
I had some red peppers. Oh, that would be like, that seems great.
do you want to know what I was thinking when she was doing that? Other than, damn, that looks good. I was trying to figure out how she got it all in one go. Because I'm not a chef. I'll admit that. Let me tell you what, I would have fucked it up. I would have only grabbed the bread. I would have screwed, the egg would be off. God knows where the egg would have gone. Like, that woman is a
all on the
master
wrist,
chef.
McKenna. It's all on the wrist.
It's all on the, well, I got poor wrists.
I'm confused about which part you think is like difficult. Because at first I thought you were talking about cutting the hole.
That too.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
I
because
mean-
you just take like a biscuit cutter or a cookie cutter and you just go in the bread.
Oh my god.
Or, just kind of cut a circle with a knife. That works too.
Wait, if you
Yeah, but
use,
it's much easier to just take the cookie cutter and
Oh,
squish it.
sure.
wait, if you use a cookie cutter, could you do like different shapes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
I can't see why not.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Game changer. I don't know. I just cooking confuses me too much, and that woman, in my eyes, is Gordon Ramsay. But yeah, no, I was real hungry watching this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, she makes him the steak with the pasta.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That looked so good.
Oh, and the bread.
Oh, my
the bread
God.
looked great too.
The bread.
Mhm.
The bread.
It made me like as soon as they went to that bakery, like I was like, oh man, I wish there was like a bakery that I could just go and buy bread from.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because like I mean, obviously we have like a bakery around here and stuff, but the bread's so expensive, and it's also like it's not even that personal. Where I'm walking in, I'm talking to the person. They got bread everywhere. Like it's just full of bread. Like
Yeah.
how much bread are they throwing away every day? They got so much bread in there.
There's not an angry Nicolas Cage in the basement, like.
A one-handed guy shoveling coal
Really
or whatever
off.
into the oven.
Okay.
We got to talk about all the stuff with the hand. In my very limited notes that I took, I didn't take many notes. I'm the guest.
Oh.
I do that on my show.
The only note that I took for this was I wrote down my moonfall joke. Made sure I didn't
Nice.
forget to do that.
I had 4 notes for this. Well, other than the fact I figured. I'm sorry, God.
But my very first bullet point is all the stuff with Ronnie's hand.
I kept expecting it to like impact the plot in
Yeah.
some way. But no, it's just like a thing that they decided to like he should only
Yeah.
have like half a hand.
But it starts in the airport when Loretta's seeing off Johnny, and he's talking about, hey, I need you to do this thing. I have, a younger brother. We've had some bad blood. It's been, 5 years, he says, and he holds up his hand and he looks at it and he
Oh.
closes his fist.
Oh wow, I didn't pick up on that.
And-
It's obvious I didn't know Nick Cage only had one hand. I gotta watch this movie again.
Pick up all the hints.
Yep. And,
Okay, well,
then.
so to pause there at the airport scene, because that scene is
Mhm.
immediately followed by what might be the funniest fucking scene in this movie, where she talks to the old lady who is just
the old
like,
crone.
just
Yeah.
like mad, just like absolute crazy eyes, talking about how she put a curse on the plane.
Curse
to make
on
it
that
wet.
plane.
I was waiting for something to happen with all like the bad luck talk and whatnot. I was like, this next scene's gonna be the plane in the ocean. But
No, what I love about this movie is it pauses every now and then for a scene that's just funny vibes.
yes.
It's just like, you know what? Barely anything happens in this movie. We gotta fill out the runtime. Let's just
Yeah.
have some fun.
Yeah. Oh, and they're clearly having fun, like at the liquor store, with the couple fighting about how he's eyeing some young lady, and oh God, it's so good. And she's just kind of smiling and listening.
Like relationships.
Mhm.
Everything has to do with somebody like stealing somebody or cheating on somebody. It reminds me of a lot of like in When Harry Met Sally, the interstitials of like interviewing the couples and stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's like these these little pauses just for like thematic flair.
Mm. Like I said, I learned so much about love and relationships in this movie. It's just, and I also I like how with the dad, everything comes back to death. Like every time when the mom asks the fiance, clearly I'm not good with names. Rose asks the fiance, Johnny, and it's just like afraid of death or whatever. It's like, God damn it, fucking always comes back to death. That's why men chase women, whatever.
And he's constantly singing along to that Vicky Carr song about, and he's like really singing his heart out about the "or I shall die" line.
And they go watch the opera where the woman dies at the end of the opera. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's about death and relationships.
Fucking movie's about death. Yep.
Joe, give us more going back. Facts.
Hand facts.
It's hand facts. So like after the opera, when they she realizes that they've walked back to his place, and he has that big long speech about being in love with her and how love isn't what they tell you it is and all that, and I want you to get inside and get into my bed. And he reaches out for her, and he reaches out with the prosthetic hand. And the camera just kind of lingers on it for a moment. And he's got this just really desperate look in his face. I think a lot of this stuff I kind of realized in this rewatch, because I don't think I've really watched this film with as much of a critical eye before. It's just a good fucking movie that I've enjoyed for a good portion of my life. But you notice so much when you start actually paying attention to this movie. Other than that, just the wonderful bit where Ronnie's like losing his shit on her, pointing at his hand. I lost my hand. I lost my bride. Johnny has his hand. Johnny has his bride. And the whole thing about Chrissy over by the wall. Bring me the big knife. I'm going to cut my throat. Oh my God. And then Chrissy, bring me the big knife. She's like, I told you I won't do it.
I came very close to tweeting out last night, Makenna, bring me the big knife.
Yeah.
So good. I was laughing so hard during that.
And again, it's all these little characters that you see in like one scene. They get a couple of lines. There's some real humdingers there, and then they're gone for the rest of the movie. You never see them again.
I was really hoping something would develop with that girl who loved Ronnie. Too many Anis. Who loved Ronnie. Nothing came of that. I was like, damn, she must be devastated. Yeah. Cher just came in one day.
Swooped in, stole her hands. I love that little tug of her sleeve that her coworker gives her after she confesses her love. It's so sad.
I know. I mean, when you got Nick Cage looking like that, how can you not love him? Whew.
I have a couple quotes of pulled up of jokes that I liked. When Ronnie tells her, "You ruined my life," she goes, "That's impossible. It was ruined when I got here."
It's made all the better with the New York accent as well. Like that's what I think I loved particularly about Cher's character, was just the how she talked and like the accent and everything.
Apparently, it was her boyfriend at the time that taught her how to speak with that Brooklyn accent. Wow. Not a dialect coach.
Killing it. He's crushing it. And because I'll say, you compare it to Nick Cage. Nick Cage is struggling with the accent. Nick Cage is struggling with like everything in this movie. This is not Nick Cage's best performance, unfortunately.
No, it's still fun as hell, but yeah.
No, it's still a great time. And like just like it's more the vibe of Nick Cage is there, the way that he performs things. We know what Nick Cage is. We know the vibe Nick Cage brings. But it also just like at this point in his career, like the look that he had is so good for this movie, because it is like it sells that he's like significantly younger than her. Like the scene of them together at the opera, like just like they look so good together.
Yep, she is 18 years his senior.
Wow.
I like, there's too many damn movies where older guys, younger women. I like that Moonstruck reverses it. I like that Nick Cage is younger. It's not like a Harold and Maude type situation, but it's
No, or licorice pizza.
yeah. That's a strange one.
This one's legal.
Yeah.
Oh no.
They're both like well
Yeah.
into adulthood, but like yeah, she's just like I like that like they talk about it, like where like she's just like kind of stopped trying, like her husband died and she hasn't really put in a lot of effort, and then like she sees Ronnie once and then she goes and gets her hair done. She gets all the grays taken out of her hair and then her hair's all blown out. She's looking like full on Cher now. Oh, it's so good.
We love a transformation montage. Oh, that was great. Oh, and it was like, it was not the hair salon gossip as well. Oh, like similar to like, well, really any scene. It's like if you felt like you were there in the hair salon, also getting your hair done. It was wonderful. It was great. Oh, yeah. And then the dress, the hair, and the dress.
Oh yeah, the dress is just like, damn, Cher, killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a woman! What a woman! She makes me speechless, honestly. Like, and she's out there. She's doing accountant shit as well. She's doing hot girl stuff out there in good old New York.
Yeah, she is the best bookkeeper in all of Brooklyn.
She's doing the books.
I love like the C or the D plot of her totally forgetting to make the deposit for her aunt and uncle. And they just show up to be a couple of extra characters at this breakfast scene at the end. And they're like, you got something you want to tell us? And she's been walking around with, a day's worth of cash from their business. Sure, why not?
I like the grandpa. The grandpa who's just like around during he keeps getting these weird scenes where he goes out and he's talking to the dogs about the moon and he goes and visits the grave. I don't know what's going on.
That's like a daily thing for like old Italian men like that. They're gonna go meet at the cemetery, smoke a couple of heaters and drink some coffee.
This is what compels me to watch the movie again, because I want to, like, with the full context, I want to like analyze what's going on with Grandpa. What's he up to?
And then he gets so many steam sealing things. The thing where he's going to feed the dogs. Old man, you feed those dogs one more piece of my food, I'm gonna kick you till you're dead. And his little pivot and turn back to the table with the look on his face.
At the end of the kitchen scene, when he starts crying.
He gets two wonderful lines in that scene.
Dad,
the one you're bringing up.
Dad, what's wrong? I'm confused.
And then the other one when it's just dead silence at the table. Someone tell a joke.
No,
it's so good.
Afterwards, when they're all drinking the champagne and he brings the champagne over to Johnny and he's like, drink. He's like, no. He's like, no, we're family now. Drink.
Yes.
I really just want to. I want to rewatch the entire movie, but particularly that kitchen scene. This is brilliant. I love how many damn times the doorbell rings, and every time they think it's Johnny, but no, it's just some other random part of the family just coming over. It's never Johnny until it is.
I love how the aunt's like, so what are we doing here? Because everybody's just kind of sitting there in relative silence.
Oh, and then when the mom, she's talking to her, she's like, have I been a good wife? Yes.
Oh my
I
God.
want you to stop seeing her. And then he just stands
up,
slams the table, and then sits down.
Okay.
So good.
But then the follow-up to all that, where, he does his little, sad, day in a man's life when he realizes that everything's built on nothing or whatever. And she, with this just heartbreaking look on her face, like, your life is not nothing, meaning, hey, you've got all of this, you got me. And, she just says to him, te amo. And I forget what he says back, but it's a really sweet moment. And it's like, but also, and I want you to go to confession.
Good old Catholic guilt right there.
When Cher goes to confession.
Oh my God.
She runs through like I took the Lord's name in vain this many times. I slept with the brother of my fiance. And I can't remember.
I bounced a check at the.
Oh, I bounced a check. He's like,
but I don't think that counts. But
he's like, and you didn't do it intentionally. No. Okay, well then that's not a sin. But that second thing.
That's a pretty big sin. And I'm pretty sure he calls her Loretta because he can clearly see it's her. He knows it's her. This is.
Then all her penance, 2 rosaries. That ain't a bad penance right there. Let me tell you what.
Nah.
And then she goes and prays next to her mom.
You didn't come home last night. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh my God. It's just. And then she makes.
This movie rules.
So good. I love when she makes Johnny go on his knees in the restaurant. Like, it's an expensive suit.
This is a good suit.
I picked it out for you.
Came with 2 pairs of pants.
2 pairs of pants. Good suit right there. I love it.
At the end when she makes Nicolas Cage give her the ring, and he doesn't have a ring, so he borrows the pinky ring from Johnny that she's been wearing as an engagement ring the entire time.
So good. So good.
And he's just gobsmacked from that moment on. He doesn't know what to do.
Oh my God. I want to go rewatch.
I love how even his dying mother can't put up with his bullshit. He's weeping and crying, and she's in bed just like the dismissive hand wave.
It was a miracle. She got up, she made food for everyone. The mourners, her and me. I was like, yeah, that's an Italian woman right there.
She ate a meal that would choke a pig.
Yes.
A miracle? That's not supposed to happen anymore.
Ain't these modern times? Oh God.
I also like the little bit of a running gag of him just continuously forgetting his bags. Like when he goes to the taxi, he goes away, forgets his bag. And, I love it. It happens like 3 times in like 2 minutes. It's wonderful. It's a great time. Oh my God. Just. What a movie, you know? This is a damn
Banger.
Thank you, Joe, for telling me about this movie. This is a good movie.
This is an excellent film.
It's so good. Oh my God. I just, like I said, I didn't know what it was going into it. And I'm wonderful. Brilliant, I tell you. Before I say more adjectives, because you know I can. Joe, do you have any last thoughts about this movie?
God. Again, there's just the different conversations in this thing. You watch this thing a few more times, you're going to have so many of these lines absolutely stuck in your head. I know the whole, slap, snap out of it thing for years. That was like in the American Film Institute's list of like best lines of like best comedic lines or whatever. Yeah, and suddenly all the gifts that people use from time to time, the 2 that are probably out there, all make more sense. The table flip is such a great scene.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good.
It's just his little pause of like, look what I've done. Shit. Run my hand through my hair. Yup.
This is gonna turn into like when I'm gonna watch this movie so many times, like When Harry Met Sally, where I'm just like quoting it constantly. Because that one, like, there's so many lines from that movie where I'll just be like talking to myself, just be like, waiter, waiter. I would be glad to partake of your pecan pie. Fucking love that movie. This movie's got so many things like just like, oh man, I'm gonna be like saying lines from this movie for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
now.
you're welcome. Yeah, I need to seek out more Norman Jewison movies. He did In the Heat of the Night, right?
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces and that's it. But I need to give that one a whirl and just look into some of his other work.
The Hurricane is, I remember really loving that movie. Fiddler on the Roof, of course, is a fucking banger. Oh yeah. Thomas Crown Affair is pretty decent. Like he's got some
that's pretty fun.
Hell
yeah.
This is
but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna talk about the movie. I was just gonna give like one more sentence about the movie. I promise.
Oh, by all means.
No, I was just thinking about this, and I'm excited to go. Thanksgiving's coming up, so I'll see a bunch of my family. I can almost guarantee you, they all went to the theaters to watch this. Like, and I'm thinking about, I'm like, Grandma went, all the cousins went. This is yeah, no, they lined the theaters for this one.
35 years ago.
Oh yeah, back at 87. What a year. Let me tell you what. I remember it fondly. Brandon, do you I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Brandon, do you have any last thoughts about this movie?
Yeah. So it's Criterion month. We're picking movies out of the Criterion collection. And I think that this movie epitomizes like kind of what I love about the Criterion collection. Because I know like probably a lot of people who listen to this show probably not super familiar with the Criterion collection. They probably heard that it's, like a joke about how much I love the Criterion collection and my Criterion, my Blu-rays, all that stuff. And it gets sort of a reputation of being like very, very snooty, very like, oh, it's all French New Wave and Italian neorealism, and it's your Godard and it's your Fellini, all that stuff. But like,
and a heavy dose of samurai.
Yeah, and a lot of Kurosawa, and it's just like it's all black and white movies and stuff like that. And like, they do such a good job of finding movies that like to put a stamp on and be like, you should remember this. You should check this out. Like, this movie is kind of just like, if you're not into the collection or you didn't watch it a million times when you were a kid, this just isn't a movie that's talked about anymore. It's not a movie that's super remembered well. And if it wasn't for the Criterion collection, you wouldn't be able to buy this movie on Blu-ray probably. This movie slaps. This movie's awesome. This is sort of like the other side of the coin of when we did Film Bro Month, right? Because Film Bro Month was a lot. We were watching it and being like, yeah, these are good movies, but like they probably get talked about too much. This is like, these are really good movies and we should probably all be talking about them a lot more. Moonstruck is awesome. This movie's fucking great. Would have never heard about this thing if it wasn't for Joe and the Criterion collection. I just need to go more into the collection and just watch more stuff.
I'm really happy you two enjoyed this film as much as you did. It's a shit ton of fun for sure. And on the topic of Criterion collection and your Criterion month, I'm pretty excited about the other films that you're going to be deep diving into here over the next 3 weeks or so. I find it hilarious that Armageddon is part of it, but also, yeah, Armageddon fucking rules.
In the collection.
It is. Apparently The Rock is as well.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Criterion Collection, and I know there's a bunch of hot new releases this month, and you had mentioned, Barnes and Noble has their sale going on for the bulk of the month. Anything in particular that you're thinking of picking up?
Do you want to see the?
Uh-oh.
I have a lot of tabs pulled up right now.
Well now.
I'm working through because I know I have a couple weeks to decide.
Mhm.
So I brought up a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna work it down into about like 4 or 5 Blu-rays I'm gonna pick up for the month. But right now it's the Before trilogy, which I haven't seen before. So I know that those are supposed to be really, really fantastic. I want to watch those. So those are in there. The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin, of course. 8.5, Fellini's probably masterpiece. One of my favorite movies of all time, Do the Right Thing. Memoirs of Murder, which I know Joe is a big fan of, thinking about buying that one.
Yep, I've definitely
Terrence
got that
Malick's, Badlands. Haven't seen that. Parasite, which really like that movie. I know the Criterion cover is fucking awesome. Kind of want to pick that one up. Seven Samurai, The Sound of Metal, which I really liked. Lost Highway, which I'm probably going to buy. And the one that I'm definitely going to buy, Punch Drunk Love.
All right. Yeah, I definitely picked that Lost Highway 4K up as soon as it was around. Luckily, there was a sale right at that time. And like we talked about with some of David Lynch's films, it's just vibes. It's absolutely just vibes. But this is like his most soundtracky movie. Where
it was the first David Lynch film, because I had been a Twin Peaks fan. That was the first film that I had watched. And that movie was just like, what a fucking mind fuck that movie is. Crazy film.
It's bonkers. I've only got 2 things that are on my short list. I want to, keep the Criterion budget in check this time around for sure. But that 4K version of WALL-E, the first Disney Pixar film as part of the Criterion Collection, it is my favorite Pixar movie. I cry like a fucking baby every time I watch those 2 robots fall in love. And I'm very, very tempted to snag that Infernal Affairs trilogy.
Nice.
Yeah, the inspiration for The Departed. Yeah.
Mac, are there any Criterion movies you're thinking about getting?
Yep, back to me. I have to look at the list. I have to look at things.
It's a long list.
It's very likely that now Moonstruck will end up being purchased by me, because I really want to know what because my favorite thing about the Criterion is the essays and stuff included. I really like a well-educated, a film professor or a professional film critic just being like, here's 6 pages on why this movie's dope.
Yes. Yeah, I got a few Barnes and Noble gift cards, so yeah, I'm probably gonna pick something up. But when does it end? We're not sponsored by Criterion yet, but when does it end?
Or Barnes and Noble. I believe this goes through pretty much all November. That's normally what it is. Is that November is 50% off at Barnes and Noble for a Criterion.
Sweet. Do they have the Criterion movies in store? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So
usually a good number.
The larger Barnes and Nobles do. The smaller Barnes and Nobles have started taking the Criterion Blu-rays out of the store because they're just not selling very well. Mm-hmm. But if you go to a larger Barnes and Noble, Mac, you're in Philly.
I am in Philly.
Yeah, you're in a major metropolitan city. If you go to a Barnes and Noble, there will be an entire section of Criterion.
I completely forgot. I can go to a Barnes and Noble whenever I want. I forgot where I lived. Oh my god. I don't have to drive to Barnes and Noble. I can take the stuff. I wonder where it is. This is a game changer. I completely forgot. This is. Ooh.
Oh. Got a couple of these.
Oh, visual aids.
Yes, and for Brandon, I do have, if I can get my finger to go where it needs to go. Whoa, wait, there's a delay in the video, so it's not helping. There's Moonstruck. There it is.
Oh, look at that. Look at you. You're so
So
prepared.
we are doing a couple of the Criterion films that are my favorites, right? We're going to do Dazed and Confused with ISO Christian.
Ooh.
This is, I think, maybe my favorite Criterion cover that they've done. It comes
The
with
cover.
a film poster and stuff. It's fucking dope. This is
that's
like
cool.
one of the coolest
Nice.
Criterion editions they've ever done, and it's one of my favorite movies. So I'm really excited we're going to do that one. And then we're also going to do The Red Shoes, which I think might be the best movie in the Criterion Collection. This movie's fucking incredible. But we're sort of doing
Proto
a lot
Black
of
Swan.
weird. It's very similar, yes. We're sort of doing a lot of weird movies, right? Because we're picking Armageddon, which you can't buy at a Barnes and Noble. We're doing Moonstruck, which is like not one of the marquee Criterion titles. So if you're really looking to get into the Criterion collection, two films 100% recommend. They're very hard to find anywhere else other than Criterion. Is one, was Samurai. This is one of the most influential films ever made. If you like Drive, if you like Baby Driver, if you like any of those movies about a fucking guy who doesn't talk a lot and wears a cool jacket, it's ripping off this movie. It's like the grandfather of French New Wave. It's fucking awesome. Buy this one. And then Blowout, which we've talked about on this podcast before. One of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies. Therefore, also one of the most influential films of the movies you probably like. So pick up some of these. Just Le Cercle Rouge, dope. Tootsie, this movie fucking slaps, man. Tootsie's awesome. Dustin Hoffman. Mulholland Drive, which me and Joe have a podcast together talking about Mulholland Drive. It's very long, but go listen to us talk about Mulholland Drive, which is in the Criterion.
Please.
And of course, you can pick up a 4K copy of Citizen Kane. This movie is as good as you've been told it is. Go watch it.
Very enjoyable. Once again, we are not sponsored by Criterion. We should be.
Which
Please sponsor.
damn
You
well
should
should be. Yep.
I'll
Tag Criterion
Yeah.
on Twitter in this podcast post. Let them know
Mhm.
they need to send us like gift cards or something. Or a
Yeah.
hat. They have hats.
Oh, I want a hoodie. I mean,
They have
please.
hoodies. We also want the house t-shirt.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll write him an email. This is
House rips. It's
Yes.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, sponsors Criterion Collection, sponsors Barnes and Noble, sponsors Haas's. Still trying to get it. Trying to get the Tony salad. One day. Joe, where can people find you?
please, by all means, seek out Murders with Mertens on YouTube. Don't have that custom URL, just a YouTube handle, which is some kind of new thing that they started rolling out this past week. Yeah. YouTube, stop trying to make handle a thing. We just want custom URLs. But did I sign up for one? Sure, I did. But yes, Murders with Mertens on YouTube.
Really good podcast. There are
Well, thank you for
Two
that.
thumbs up.
2 episodes with me talking about, as I said, Mulholland Drive. Also, Funny Games, which is in the Criterion Collection over there. We only talk about
Yes, it
Criterion
does.
movies when I go on that show.
Apparently,
watched a
apparently.
Criterion
Oh yeah,
movie.
Makenna. Makenna
Yes,
is also
hers
on
was
that
a
show
Crit.
talking about
Yes.
the Criterion movie.
The Silence of the Lambs. Yes.
Yeah, consider those
Yes.
like supplemental Criterion Month episodes.
Yeah, that's your homework
There you
for
go.
this month.
There you go. Happy to be part of that. But yeah, it's a fun little podcast where I bring on a guest and we talk about one of their favorite scary films, and we kind of use the plot as the way to work through things, but just gush about all the cool, dope shit that happens in somebody's favorite scary movie.
Yes. Talent 10. Highly recommend. Go check it out. We have the links in the bio. Boom.
Doobly-doo.
We're for doobly doo. Yes. Brandon, where can people find you?
They can find me at Jose Ruckus on pretty much every social media platform, at least while social media platforms are still a thing. They can also find me every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific on twitch.tv/fan-controlled for the show Don't Cause a Ruckus, which is a dope show. It's a sports debate show that doesn't stick to sports.
Hell yeah.
Go watch that.
Yes, 10 out of 10. You can find me if you want on Twitter at PotterPants212. Oh, I'm gonna pimp something. Sorry. If you're a fan of the soccer and you're watching the World Cup, go check out State of Soccer TV, where I will be producing stuff with amazing commentators, and maybe I won't make things explode. I'll be behind the scenes. I won't be on screen. But we'll have Josh Sperber, who is a commentator for the Melbourne Aces in Australia for baseball, and
Oasis.
yes, exactly. And a woman who she was Jill. She was the first woman to call a Diamondbacks game. She's also amazing. I haven't met her yet, but she's pretty cool. So go check that out if you like sports, soccer. So yeah, State of Soccer TV, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you. That's pimp stuff. Thank you.
I think I have one last thing to pimp if I possibly could.
Go for it.
If you live in the United States, I hope you've gone out and voted, because by the time this thing has posted, we're either living through the prequel of The Handmaid's Tale or we've managed to postpone it for 2 years. So by all means, get out there and vote.
Vote.
Yeah, it's going to go up on Monday, right, Makenna?
Right.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, then get your ass in line and vote.
Tuesday.
Like your life depends on it.
Also might come out on Tuesday. Either way, there is probably still time for you to go out and vote.
Go vote.
If you're listening to the show. And do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking do it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vote time. And yes, thank you for if you want, you can follow Twitter. I should make a list. At HBO Mak, HBO Makenna on Twitter, and we also have a fancy YouTube handle thingy, not a custom URL yet, but go subscribe on YouTube. And maybe we will.
YouTube.com/at HBO Max MAKS.
The symbol.
Makenna, I had an idea.
Oh.
I thought I'd run this by you.
Okay, sure.
What if at
Production meeting
100 subscribers,
Uh-huh.
we get the custom URL, we get all the funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If we get to 100 subscribers, that's when Maximum Ruckus happens.
That's what Maximum Ruckus. I am behind that.
So yeah, if you want a podcast of me and Makenna not talking about a movie, just the wild derailing parts of this podcast. If you just want those things, if we get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, Maximum Ruckus, that show, that'll happen.
That's greenlit, baby. Right now it's
Nice.
redlit. It could be greenlit. Well, I guess
like,
technically
share, and
it's yellow.
subscribe, and all that.
Yes, exactly. Smart. There we go. Like, share, subscribe, comment. What should people comment?
Oh,
Sorry.
I was going to ask you that.
So I got you first.
I want you to comment on this episode. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
That's amore. I do have one final comment every time I think of that, and this is going to be very particular to only a few people. Whenever that came up, I only thought of our good friend Mike Larkey, our copyright lawyer, because I swear to God, he's saying that at least once every time we played Fortnite. So shout out to Mike. But yes, thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing, and liking and voting. Thank you. That's amore.
Hi.
Le Circle Rouge!